Hey, what's up, guys? This is Tomas Ramirez, the owner of Positive Gains Training, and today is another episode of Impact Beyond the Weights. Today, I just want to talk about some things that are hindering people's fitness goals, specifically when it comes to fat loss. Just been something that's been on my mind. I'm just trying to come up with different ideas to help bring value to you guys. So today, I hope that this is a blessing to those of you and help to increase in your knowledge. Again, this is part one of a 3 series. I want to continue to keep filming and just bringing up more quality content. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out and let me know what your questions are so I can make more videos and talk more about this content. Okay, so with no further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started. I create a PowerPoint, like to be as professional as possible so that way I don't forget my train of thought or go back later like, man, I wish I would have said this. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to present our slides. I'm going to exit the full screen really quick. I'll bring this up to the stage. All right, here we go. So you can't see it, but it says 3 things that are hindering your fitness progress. Part 1. And then at the bottom there, I got specifically fat loss. And again, my name's Tomas Ramirez. I am the third. Okay, so slide number 2, to kickstart this, I want to have a quote for this series. I thought it was a great idea, and I thought this quote was very, very on point. And shout out to Michael Jordan, one of the greatest basketball players ever. And I'm sure many can debate if he is the GOAT all time. I'll leave that up to you guys. But his quote says, "The minute you get away from fundamentals, whether it's proper technique, work ethic, or mental preparation, the bottom can fall out of your game. Your schoolwork, your job, or whatever you're doing." So basically, if you get away from the fundamentals, everything else could potentially fall out from underneath you. And I think that's very important, especially when it comes to training, which again, I argue is different than exercising. Do you exercise in training? Yes, but exercise and training are 2 completely different things. And I feel like a lot of people have a lot of exercisers and not trainers. And we want to be different than that. All right. So today we're going to talk about one of the 3 that I feel like influence people's progress or lack of progress, and that is the environment or influence. So I want to get heavy into this. Again, this is a 3-part series, and this is video number 1. And I feel like the next video I'm going to do is even more in depth, and it's something that I'm very passionate about because it's something that people don't really reflect on or take time to notice. So again, today's topic is environment or your influence. So I like to be very specific. I like to make sure I'm using things in context, as details are important to me. And I looked at the definitions. I just went on Google. I went on to dictionary.com and all that too. And I like these definitions better. So the definition of environment is the surroundings or conditions in which a person, animal, or plant lives or operates. So it's just your surroundings and the conditions within those surroundings. And influence, the capacity to have an effect on the character, development, or behavior of someone or something, or the effect itself. I would also switch out capacity with the ability. So something that's able to change something about your character or someone's development or your behavior or something similar to that. So that's influence. It has that ability to change something about you, detour you possibly in a bad way or influence you to be better in a good way. All right, so let's elaborate. So what the heck am I talking about specifically? We learned the definitions. Like, what am I talking about? What can we get into more details that relates more to fitness when it comes to environment and influence? So here's my list. I like my little background here. Got the donut with the tape measure in the background. Shout out to Microsoft PowerPoint for being able to create these PowerPoints, because I'm not that creative, but something simple as this. So my list is spouses/relationships. I think we all can agree that when you are married or when you're in a relationship, it's hard to lose weight usually. And again, we'll talk more about this in a second. Friends, and then more so like the social aspect in your home lifestyle. So the home environment, particularly like your kids or the foods that you have within your refrigerator or your pantry. So spouses and relationships I can't tell you guys how many times that I hear, specifically when it comes to wives with their husbands, it's like he's bringing in foods for me. Like I get he's trying to cater to me because he knows I enjoy these things, but I'm trying to reach these goals. And when the temptation's in the house, I just can't help but to eat it because it's right there. Or just husbands or just spouses in general, they're not particularly trying to reach a certain fitness goal. They're not trying to look a specific type of way like their spouse is. So it's kind of like it's irrelevant to them. It's like, well, I'm going to eat what I want to eat. I don't want to eat that stuff type of deal. And I think that's a huge factor in people's success when it comes to their fitness goals, particularly, again, when it comes to losing weight, because nobody wants to cook 3 different meals, one for you, one for your husband or wife, or one for your kids. Nobody wants to do that. We all want to have unity and come together. And I feel like that plays a huge role in people's success is just the mindset of their spouse. Does their spouse even know that they're trying to reach these goals? Do they even know the particular goals that they are trying to reach? So I don't want to just present the problems, but I also want to present some solutions. So hopefully this will be helpful. So I think we all can agree with that. All right, so some tips to help balance relationships, whether you're married or just dating. So here's my number 1 tip. Number 1 tip is communication. And I want to get a little bit more specific. Why? Why is reaching this goal important to you? Like, I feel like I have clients that come to me and I always ask, does your spouse know that you're here right now? Because you'll be surprised, before when I was an upcoming trainer, how many spouses don't even know that their wife is coming to train with me. Like, okay, like this is, to me, when it comes to training married people, this is a family investment. Like, yes, I may only be training one person, but the way that I view marriage is that this is your guys' finances. This isn't just your finances because you're coming in here. This is your guys' finances. This is your investment. That yes, you may be doing the physical work. You may be the one who's actually showing up, but this is an investment that both of you guys as a family are doing. So I recognize that, and I appreciate every single married couple that invests with me, and I just ask a blessing on your family. But I don't feel like spouses communicate why. Like, is it the weight loss? Is this particular image? So I don't feel like there's proper communication. Like, I know because we do a thorough orientation, but do they know that? Do they know why you're coming to the gym? Do they know how you've been feeling lately? Do they know what's going on with you? And I think that's just as equally as important. Um, Next on the list is personal goals slash visions. Like, what's your personal goals? Like, what are your visions? Like, if I can, I like to work together with the opposite spouse. Like, hey, this is what we're trying to work on. This is why he or she is coming to train with me. This is the goals for the month. This is what we're trying to accomplish, because they're with them more than I am, and I can only do so much within 40 minutes to an hour, however long they're training with me. So communicate like, hey, this is my personal goals. This is what I'm trying to accomplish this week. This is what I'm trying to accomplish this month. This is what I'm trying to accomplish in 3 months. This is what I'm trying to accomplish in 6 months. And, just letting your spouse know that, hey, this is what I'm trying to do. And they can, help come alongside of you, hopefully. And then also express what it would look like once you accomplish this goals or vision. So, hey, once I get this goal, I will feel so much more confident with myself. I don't feel like I'll be as insecure, or, I'll feel relaxed, more calm, like I'm actually working on myself. I just have a bunch of stress and it just releases my stress. Like, present the benefits. Like, hey, if I do this and when I accomplish the goals, this is what I feel like would be better, not just for me, but in our household, because, we play off of each other in our household. So if one person's grumpy, chances are that person's going to act out to the other person. It may influence the whole household. And now it's like, man, everybody's in a bad attitude, or just doesn't want to be around that person. So just communicate some benefits. What would it look like once you accomplish this goal? It'll be more motivating. And then number 2 over here, spouse / significant other support. So this is more aimed towards the other person in the relationship, and this is personal sacrifices. So again, as I mentioned earlier, maybe your goal isn't particularly to lose weight, or your goal isn't to particularly get into shape, but that doesn't mean that you don't help contribute to that. So like, hey, you know what? I support you, baby. This isn't my goal particularly, and I know this is going to mean we're going to have to change up our diet a little bit, but I'm supporting you. I'm behind you. How can I help you to be better? I'll try to stop bringing in these sweet treats, or, let's try to get some things out of here. Let's try to have more protein focused meals, maybe dial down on our carbohydrates. Let's actually weigh out our food. How can I help you to be better and stuff like that? And it comes with some sacrifice, because again, maybe that's not particularly what you're trying to do, but you're investing this hard-earned money, because training is not cheap. So I figured that you would want to see a result come from it. And if you're part of the problem, you can't get upset. New activities / dates. So this also is going to go into my next point when it comes to the social aspect. But new activities and dates, you don't always have to go out to eat. You can go for a nice long walk. Thank God here in Michigan right now in Detroit, the weather's actually pretty nice. It's not super warm, but the weather's nice. We went for a walk yesterday. Just go get some steps in. Doesn't have to go out to eat. Didn't even have to spend no money. Just go to the park and go for a walk. Communicate. Hey, this is how my goals are going. Again, go back to the first point. This is how my goals are going. Just find different activities. Find some new things that you like to do that doesn't involve just eating out all the time. And then I think the last point for number 2 is just caring. Again, showing that sacrifice. Say, hey, again, this isn't particularly something that I want to do, but this obviously is important to you, and I'm willing to support you, and just let that person know that, hey, I care, and I'm here to help you, not hinder you. And I think that will go a long way. So those are my top tips for helping to find some balance in relationships when it comes to meeting your goals. All right, let's go with friends. So I like the little ball pit in the background. Growing up, playing in the ball pit was one of my favorite things to do at Chuck E. Cheese. Shout out to Chuck E. Cheese. It ain't the same no more. But definitely friends have an impact on our, ability to reach our goals, especially when it comes to specific seasons like summertime. Summertime is one of the hardest times to try to lose body fat. There's just a lot of social activities going on. There's a lot of events going on, and that can play a huge part. So let's get into some of the tips that I have for that. All right, so some tips to help balance social aspects. Number 1 is find a community with some similar ambitions. So, the saying, birds of a feather flock together. I'm not telling you to just ditch your friends. I'm not saying to just avoid your friends, but find a community that has ambitions like you, that are trying to do the same things like you. Build some new relationships, so that way it's not as tempting to, be by yourself. As we all know that from 2020 experience, when you're by yourself, or you just are hindered to a certain group, or just hindered by certain things, it's like it's harder to do. And that doesn't just mean fitness. That just means life in general. We need each other. Despite how some people may feel or think, we do need each other. We do need a group. So go find a community. Go find a walking community group. Maybe there's one on Facebook right now. I don't know. Go do, shout out to Cardio Drumming and our Drummers Elite in Wyandotte. Those are some of the people that come to my class, and I shout them out. They're a strong community. I admire their community a bunch, specifically ladies, but there are men in there too. And again, they have a strong community. They do stuff together. They go shopping together, So find a community that's active and can help you to learn some new things, and maybe even take classes to find things that you didn't even know you liked. Number 2, avoid eating and start moving. So again, this kind of goes into what I said in the last point with the relationships, is you don't always have to be social and go out to eat. Yes, I get it. Being social does usually involve some type of food. That's just in our human nature. We come to sit down and just enjoy a meal together, just something about that aspect. But it doesn't always have to be the case. Chances are, again, this is going to be in the next video, when you're going out to eat, all that suffering you did during the week, you kind of just threw it out of the window. And now, I guess the question is, was it worth it? So avoid eating, start going out, go do stuff like, hey, let's hang out today, but let's go downtown, let's rent some bikes, and let's just go for a bike ride. Or, hey, let's go for a walk, or let's go do some type of activity. Let's go putt-putt golf. I mean, it's not something super active, but guess what? You're moving, you're getting some steps in, you're outside, you're getting some vitamin D, again, which a lot of people lack. They're not outside enough. Let's go for a nature walk. Let's go hiking. Let's go canoeing. Let's go do something new. Let's go try something new. It doesn't always have to be eating. And then number 3, plan ahead. So again, there are going to be times where you're going to go out to eat. but that's why I feel like planning ahead and knowing. So specifically, I got on there your diet. If you can know a couple of days in advance, you can adjust your diet accordingly. Like, hey, I know I'm going out to eat this weekend. Um, maybe I'll cut down on my carbs right now and then save them kind of for that day. Or if you're really trying to be strict, which I'd probably highly recommend, depending on what you want. Like, you know what? When I go out to eat, I don't want to hinder myself. I want to go out and eat whatever the heck I want because I'm paying for it, and eating out is pretty expensive. So I want to eat what I want. Maybe you fast all that day. You fast all that day. You just have one meal. You just go OMAD. It's like, yeah, you can have whatever you want, but you kind of like earned it, I guess, if you will. Like you budgeted it. That's how I always relate calories. It's like you're budgeting it. So it's like, hey, I didn't eat all day today purposely because I want to go out to eat, enjoy it, and order what I want to. I don't want to have any hindrances. So again, planning ahead. And then your restaurant menu. Maybe choose a restaurant that actually has food similar to your nutrition. So like a roadhouse, so a steakhouse, like that actually has real food and not just like super fried, deep fried stuff that's just mixed with a whole bunch of other things. Like for instance, you can go to Texas Roadhouse and get you a steak. You can get a baked potato or a sweet potato. You can get mixed vegetables. So it's real food. It emulates real things versus like Latino, like Mexican food, going to get enchiladas, like that's completely different. Like a whole bunch of cheese, whole bunch of grease, whole bunch of tortillas, and chances are it's probably cooked in lard, which is not very good fat. So again, so it's like choosing and being smart with where you're going. So just planning ahead. And number 4, you may need to take a break. And what I mean by that is I don't mean just completely avoid people, but there's some people in your life that you know are kind of like hindering you from getting where you want to be because again, they're content with how they are, but these goals are super important to you. Maybe like, hey, some people I just got to take a break from, like, hey, I'll get back to you when I'm back to reaching my goals, or like every once in a while because you like to go out and consume alcoholic beverages all the time. And I know that's hindering my goal. Like, I don't want to do that. Like, I want to reach my goal. So again, maybe you do need to take a break. Maybe you need to be wise and like, hey, no offense, we're still cool, but your lifestyle and the lifestyle I'm trying to lead just isn't mixing right now. So just some aspects to help you balance your social life. All right, next one is the home life. This is the last point, and this is where the environment comes into play. So just some disclaimers. I know that kids are super picky, especially nowadays, and there's a lot of allergens and a lot of food intolerances and all those type of things. I know our food is super expensive at the grocery store, so I don't want to seem like I'm incompetent to that or I'm not sensitive to that. Like I acknowledge that I'm not just living underneath a rock, so I get that. But I just want to give you guys some points. So some tips to help balance eating with kids and goodies. So number 1, you are in control of their diet. You are their parent. So you control what groceries come into your house for the most part. Sometimes they do get snacks from school, but that's like very minimal compared to what they have at home. You cook the meals for the most part. I'm sure they're not offering to help cook unless you're purposely forcing them. I'm sure they're not offering to help you cook. So you're cooking the meals and you form their habits. So for me growing up, it was snack time, like right after dinner, like about an hour to 30 minutes after dinner, like an hour or two before bedtime, it was snack time. My mom was like, where the heck did we get this snack time from? So it's like you form their habits, like they learn from us. And what you're teaching them is going to impact their future because they're going to pass those on to their kids. So educate them, find different things that they like, hide the vegetables. I use smoothies. So blend up a protein smoothie, give it to your kids, make it chocolate so that way they don't know there's greens in it. You don't have to use a whole bunch, but hey, guess what? It's something new. Chicken nuggets, find a cleaner version of a chicken nugget. You don't always have to go to McDonald's all the time. I forgot what company that we use, but there's a chicken nugget that we buy that has vegetables in it, like a quarter of a serving of vegetables in it, and our daughter loves it. So you control what comes in. Is that stuff expensive? It's a little bit more pricey, yeah, but I mean fruits, vegetables. Most kids, I would say, probably eat fruit. Vegetables is a little bit tougher, but you can get your kids to eat fruit. Just find things that are within your budget, obviously, and just real food, not always processed and fake stuff. Go shopping at like a Sam's Club or a Costco, things that you can get in big bulk for a cheaper price. That's the best benefit there. And then number two is out of sight, out of mind. So are there going to be snacks in the house? Sure. But if you're going to absolutely have them, then put them in a place that's hard to get to. So for instance, when I was staying with my grandfather a couple years ago, who was a diabetic, he loves ice cream and he would buy it all the time. He doesn't want to do nothing. He was a couch potato. I love him, but he was a couch potato, didn't want to do nothing, didn't want to take care of his health. So he kept buying ice cream. So what I did was he'd buy the ice cream, I would take it to the basement, put it in the downstairs deep freezer, and he'd forget all about it. And that ice cream that usually lasts a day or two, that pint is now lasting all week because he forgot it was even there. So out of sight, out of mind, like, hey, okay, these snacks are going to be here. I'm not going to put them in places where it's easy for me to get to. I'm going to have to actually work for it. Maybe for you, that's putting your snacks in the basement. Like, hey, I want this sweet treat. You're laying in bed at 9 o'clock at night. Like, I want this sweet treat. I don't really feel like going down to the basement to go get it, though. So it's like little tricks like that, or put it out in your garage if you have a refrigerator out there. Man, I really could use some pop right now, but I really don't feel like going outside to go get it in the other fridge. So it's like out of sight, out of mind, just little tactics and tricks that can help you to not deviate from your plan and feel guilty in the end or wondering why it's not working in the first place. All right, so some main takeaways. Spouses and relationships, my best tip for that is that yes, they play a huge role in your success or lack of success. And the biggest thing you can do is just communicate. This is my goal. This is what I want to do. I'm just asking, that you help come alongside of me and help support me. Just communicate why it's important and what's in it, even for them. Like, hey, if I reach this goal, things will be a lot better. I'll feel a lot better about myself. And when I feel better, I perform better. When I perform better, things get done more. I'll have more energy, take less stress off of myself. So, just communicate. Friends and social life, less eating, more moving. You don't always have to go out and eat to be social. You can go do new activities, go do things, go to the gun range. You was about to spend $50 on that dinner, go spend $50 on shooting a gun, release some stress, do something new. You know what I mean? Plan ahead. If you are going out to eat, plan ahead. Like, hey, your friend suggests, let's go to a Mexican restaurant. No, let's not. Let's go to like a barbecue place so I can like have some barbecue chicken and my sides can be vegetables and not just a whole bunch of fries and potatoes and all these other things. You know what I mean? So plan ahead. Be wise about it. In your home life, you're in control of it. You bring in the groceries, you buy the groceries. Yes, they are expensive, but they're worth the investment. You control what your kids are consuming. You cook the meals. You form the habits. You educate them. You teach them. And then out of sight, out of mind. If you absolutely have to have these things in your house, put them in a place where it's hard for you to get. That's demotivating. Like, man, I don't feel like going down there. And don't send your kids to go get it either. Like, as easy as that is, I'm not going to go do it. It's too cold outside right now, or I just feel too lazy. I really don't feel like going downstairs to go get it. So just out of sight, out of mind. I hope this was helpful for you guys. And again, this is part 1 of 3. In the next video, I want to talk about where people lose it, which is usually on the weekend, and even throw in, just an example at the very last video of like what I'm talking about when I'm actually breaking down the numbers using just a made up real life scenario and like what that looks like how people lose it at the very end. It's like you suffered all week and then you throw it all away and then you go on a scale or you go do a body fat test and you're like, I haven't done nothing, but I've been eating cleaner. I've been doing this. I've been doing that. Chances are it's because you did something that caused you to just go back right down. Okay, so I hope this was helpful, guys. Again, it's Tomas Ramirez from Positive Gains Training. Definitely appreciate you guys, and I hope you learned something new. You can check us out on our website at positivegainsstore.com. Have a good rest of your day, and God bless.